else does she get her music? Meghan Markle's lie about her Nigerian roots once again beats all of our understanding. Hello everybody, as the title says, it's pretty weird how each of our common concepts seems to be blown away without a trace with every single redefinition from Meghan. And so what do we have here? Well, let's take a look at our video once again. Welcome back to Kate Middleton and the Queen YouTube channel. Last weekend Harry proved that he is the best parrot ever when he repeated Meghan's claims about having 43 Nigerian DNA at the Invictus Games, which came after her own statement about this very fact, supposed fact, during her Archetypes podcast, leading me to check out her maternal DNA a little bit. So I found that the Raglan side of the family dates back 9 generations in the U.S., and there's a wide variety of Black American and also some other unspecified races included. Okay, so that would constitute 9 generations of biracial American DNA, so that means that Meghan is claiming that 93 of her mother's ancestry originates from Nigeria. That would have to be basically all of her mother's ancestors. Now many of them came from different states in the U.S., not simply one state, so it seems like all the Black ancestors from her mother's side from all the dozens of branches of ancestry would have to be from Nigeria. That is the only way this DNA sequence that Meghan is claiming would make any sense. Now Meghan claims to be so highly educated. Does she even realize that we only inherit 50 of the DNA from each parent? It doesn't matter who we resemble more so, with 50 of her DNA coming from her father Thomas Markle, who is of 100 white European ancestry. It is pretty amazing that over a 9-generation period of so many ancestors in her mother's family tree, somehow miraculously only 7% of Doria's DNA is not Nigerian, and that's especially remarkable when you think about the fact that an average Nigerian citizen has an average percentage of less than 40% Nigerian DNA, thanks to the large population of introduced races over the centuries, especially from the Emirates, and that's all because of a very long and tragic history of slave trafficking, which of course the British colonial government was responsible for getting rid of. Wow, isn't it fascinating then that Meghan's mother, being 9th-generation American, is somehow 93 Nigerian? All of you sugar-coated people who stand up for Meghan and Harry's falsehoods, kindly look at Doria Raglan's 100 DNA family tree and do the maths on your own. Fortunately, Dr. Gates, an expert in this area, has also weighed on the matter. According to Dr. Gates, Doria would need to be 86 Nigerian for Meghan to be 43 Nigerian. A mulatto grandfather would make her 12.5% white, so Doria cannot be more than 87.5 Nigerian, which is essentially sub-Saharan African. Since the average African American has roughly 25% undocumented white genetic ancestry, as we've already established, it is impossible for her to even be Nigerian on this DNA test at this time. Meghan's claim to be 43 years old is improbable, and someone commented, "I only took second-year genetics at USC years ago, but Thomas Markle's 50 donation was not as vetted out as Doria is. He may be Nigerian too." As each fertilized egg is a roll of the dice every time the egg and sperm come together, we could possibly make Meghan's maths work if Thomas is Nigerian too, depending on his percentages. But why would anyone spend so much time trying to make something that is essentially impossible? It's true that every fertilized egg is a fresh dice throw for its genetic content. If someone were to try to do an in-depth DNA study on Meghan's parents, well, they could do that, but what a waste of money. It's a lot easier to consider what she says and understand it's probably a very slim possibility to be the truth. Finally, we have to consider what is Meghan's reputation when it comes to telling the truth. Well, at that point it's safe to assume Meghan Markle is lying. Given that Meghan has declared her nationality as Nigerian, I'm curious if she is telling the truth. I realize this may seem irrational and that it may be difficult to face. Given that she stated she wished to learn more about her heritage, I wonder if she has conducted any additional investigation. Speaking of Meghan's origins, let's discuss a little bit about her father Thomas. It's not like she has a job that she has to go to every day, so I would think she has plenty of time on her hands. He didn't beg when he was featured on British TV, but he did honestly say that he wished to see the invisible children before he died. Having experienced a stroke, he is now in his 80s and continues to deal with some of the aftereffects. All of this is quite depressing, but Meghan Markle is a psychotic narcissist who is only interested in herself. It is truly heartbreaking that Thomas is unable to recognize the awful creature his daughter truly is. Though Meghan pretends to be a selfless person, she has no compassion for either her own family or Harry's family. Now that we're talking about father-daughter connections, she seems to have forgotten the proverb that charity begins at home. Let's also discuss your comments that you left for me in the video that you refer to as the new Diana tape that drives the dagger into Harry's heart. There were a lot of perspectives stated about Charles's youngest son being an unwelcome mistake, and as usual, I'll go through a few of them. Patricia believes Harry has fallen off the edge long ago and is no longer just teetering on the edge. He's shown to be unreliable and heartless. Greed and expectation rarely end well. He ultimately faces a challenging journey. In that case, he does. Patricia, you really hit the mark with that one. It's going to be very hard for Harry to accomplish that, if he even wants to, but I'm not going to argue that it's impossible for him to ever make amends and get along with his family again. Paula subsequently, Ganymede comments that Sperry is mentally ill and need lifetime counseling in order to understand and remember that he is accountable for his feelings and actions, as well as to cease blaming others and treating them poorly as is customary. You're absolutely right, but I don't think Harry realizes this, so I believe he keeps blaming others for his problems. If he could just take a long look in the mirror and be honest with how he got into the situation, I think he could start to improve, but I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for that to happen, and I don't think any of you should either. Jenny then makes an interesting comment, saying, I have heard a family speak of such things. I have also seen how it's handled very lightly. People can have a joke with, but in defense of King Charles, we've all seen the pictures of him together. I apologize, but Diana used the term spare and not Charles. She should never have said such a thing about such a thing. Harry has had a very privileged life, for which he should be thankful, especially in light of the ongoing debate regarding his father. I concur with you. It was wrong, in my opinion, for Diana.